Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to be doing some research on pets. Some of you might have pets there, dogs, cats, goldfish, turtles, stuff like that. But we're going to be asking the question, should you sleep with your pet? And I'm not saying should you have romantic relationships with your pet. I'm saying that should you allow them to sleep in the same bed as you? Some people like that, some pets like that, and some people don't like that.
That was a no-no when I was growing up. Our pets couldn't even come in the house. My mom would always say, pets live outside. Pets live outdoors. So, no, this would never have happened. I always thought it was kind of gross to let your dog or cat on your bed because they have all that fur and hair they're shedding, and it gets your bed all gross. But, some people love their pets more than, having a clean bed, I guess. Did you let your cat or your dog sleep in your bed, Tom?
Well, the dogs didn't want to. They thought that was weird. But Kelly, my cat, when I was growing up, liked to sleep on my pillow. And I didn't have the heart to kick him off. He looked so comfortable there. And sometimes he would actually lick my head, lick my hair, because cats like to do that sort of thing.
Really?
It's kind of weird at first, but after a while you get used to it. But I was a kid then. It was fun, and it was okay. Kelly could sleep on the pillow as much as he wanted. But, of course, some people don't like sleeping with their pets. As you said, you might have allergies to pets. You don't like the fur getting all over everything. And dogs sometimes smell, and they'll smell up your bed and stuff like that. So it kind of depends on the person, but we are going to be talking about this very topic, and we're going to be asking the question, should you share your bed with a pet? Let's try to answer this question right now. Let's read the entire contents of our lesson one time. There's nothing quite as comfortable as curling up in bed after a long, hard day, with the exception of cuddling with a beloved pet at the same time. But will falling asleep with a pet tucked under your arm bring you sweet dreams or nightmares? Some vets believe that sleeping with our pets may create stronger bonds between animals and humans. While this greater trust is beneficial, especially for pets, the research on positive outcomes for humans is mixed. On the one hand, sleeping with pets can bring a greater sense of comfort and security. People with anxiety may feel protected by having a dog in their bed, for example. Although there are no studies on the effects sleeping with pets can have on mental health, physically touching a pet while sleeping may diminish stress and increase relaxation. On the other hand, having pets in the bed can decrease a person's sleep quality. Dogs may shift throughout the night, drawing their humans out of the deep sleep that restores them. Cat owners may be woken up on purpose for attention or play. There's also the problem of allergies. Both cats and dogs can bring allergens into the bed. If you find yourself sneezing more after a pet sleeps next to you, this might be why. People who sleep with pets should adjust their way of life to do so. Owning a mattress that's big enough to accommodate everyone is crucial. On top of that, bedding should be washed regularly to minimize germs. Finally, keeping a consistent schedule is important. Just like us, pets don't like it when their bedtime routines are disrupted. Sharing a bed with a pet isn't for everyone, but it has the potential for great rewards. You'll have to decide on your own if it's worth the risk.
Let's get started, guys. Should you share your bed with a pet? I say no, but everybody has a different opinion. So there's nothing quite as comfortable as curling up in bed after a long, hard day, with the exception of cuddling with a beloved pet at the same time. Well, if you curl up, it just means your body's kind of going in a circle, right? So you bring your arms and your legs in and you just get really comfy. We like to curl up with a good book on rainy days and not move from the sofa or maybe even your bed. So you're just lying or sitting with your arms and legs bent close to your body. That's curling up. If you do sit-ups, sometimes we call them curl-ups, right? You're going to curl your body from the floor over towards your knees to get those strong stomach muscles, those ab muscles. And if you cuddle, because that's another verb here, if you cuddle with something, a person or a pet, just means you're holding them very close to your body. We like to cuddle with things that are soft or warm or people that love us. Another word for cuddle would be hug. But yeah, you can cuddle with your favorite stuffed animal. You can cuddle with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Or you can just, cuddle up with a book and a blanket and some chocolate chip cookies.
Or a pillow or something like that. You can cuddle up with that if it makes you feel better or more secure. But we've got the question, but will falling asleep with a pet tucked under your arm bring you sweet dreams or nightmares? So basically we're asking this question, is it a good thing or a bad thing to sleep with a pet? We've got a pet tucked under your arm. To tuck means to make something feel tight. Like we used to say that our parents tucked us in to bed at night, tucked us in bed at night. They would just come in and make sure the covers were nice and secure over us so we would feel safe. Maybe they would read us a bedtime story or something like that. But here we've got a pet tucked under our arm. And is that good for you or is it bad for you? This actually reminds me, when I used to live in Tianmu many years ago, my roommates had a cat. And as you know, cats actually don't like cold weather, okay? Even though their bodies are covered with fur, they get cold quite easily. And their pet cat always wanted to sleep with me because, hey, it's warm under the covers. And the cat would be looking at me and, oh, do you want in here under the covers because it's nice and warm there? And I would be nice. But the problem is if you have an animal with you in the bed, you can't really move, otherwise you're going to crush them or something like that.
You would because you're bigger than the cat, yeah. I wanted to mention tuck is also used when you're just pushing something like the edge of your shirt into your pants. You tuck your shirt in. Or if you're a girl that has longer hair, you might tuck your hair behind your ear. We use tuck just to make something a little tidier or make sure it stays in place. So, yeah. Some people want to have that pet tucked under their arm. But here's the question. Does having that pet in your bed at night produce nightmares or sweet dreams? Let's see. Moving on to the next paragraph.
Okay, here it says, some vets believe that sleeping with our pets may create stronger bonds between animals and humans. So here we're talking about vets or veterinarians, animal doctors. Sometimes the word vet refers to veterans, people who used to serve in the armed forces, and they fought in wars and things like that. But here we're talking about animal doctors or veterinarians, vets for short. And some vets believe that sleeping with our pets may create stronger bonds between animals and humans. The animals will like us more, and we'll like the animals more. We'll be bosom buddies and lifelong pals.
Well, while this greater trust is beneficial, especially for pets, the research on positive outcomes for humans is mixed. So if research is mixed, it means there's some studies that say one thing and some studies that say the opposite. So if something's beneficial, it's good for you. It's something that will be advantageous for you, something positive, beneficial. We often use beneficial to talk about having a good job that has good benefits. That's the noun form of beneficial. Beneficial, of course, is an adjective. So, yeah, the greater trust that the pet has towards its human owner or master or whatever, it's human is good, I guess. So the animals might feel greater trust towards you, but we're not sure how this affects the humans. So we're going to look at the different studies here. On the one hand, so we've got the one side of this issue. On the one hand, sleeping with pets can bring a greater sense of comfort and security. That's nice, especially for kids, maybe at night, who have nightmares. kids sometimes have scary dreams and you don't want them to be afraid. So sometimes their parents will let them take their pets to bed and sleep with their pets. Of course, again, my mother said no. So if I wanted to cuddle with something, I would just take one of my stuffed animals to bed. I wasn't really somebody who cuddled with a toy, though, at night. Some people, they love that, so that's great. Now, on the other hand, people with anxiety may feel protected by having a dog in their bed, for example. Well, this is still on the one hand, this is a benefit for people. Now, if you feel anxiety, that's the noun form of the adjective anxious, which means you're very worried about something. So anxiety is not a fun feeling. It's just, that concern you have about something. You can't rest or relax. You don't feel at peace. You're very anxious. You have a lot of anxiety in your life. And a lot of people sometimes have anxiety because of a job or a difficult situation in life. So, yeah, if they have anxiety, they may feel protected by having a dog in their bed, for example. A dog who loves them, of course.
Right, and the dog would be willing to stay there. I guess some dogs do that. My dog, when I was a kid, did not like to sleep on the bed, or he didn't like to hang out on the sofa either. We invited him up, and he would sit there for a few seconds, and then he'd get off himself. He just thought that was really weird. But I guess most people have dogs that like to sleep with their owners and like to sleep on the sofa and stuff like that. So indeed, it might be good for people if you have anxiety, if you're anxious about things. You might feel a sense of security having a dog in bed with you. Although there are no studies on the effects sleeping with pets can have on mental health, physically touching a pet while sleeping may diminish stress and increase relaxation. So we don't have any research. There are no studies that talk about the effects of sleeping with pets and what kind of effect they may have on your mental health. But still, we can conclude that physically touching a pet when you sleep may help you diminish stress, may help you be less nervous about that big presentation you're going to give to the boss the next day. Or you need to increase your relaxation because, again, you're going to give a big speech or you're going to compete in an important race or something like that. Relaxation, of course, is when you relax, when you aren't so nervous or tense.
Yeah, so relaxation is a way of resting your body, maybe enjoying yourself. Some people play the piano or a musical instrument for relaxation. Meditation is a way to have a deep state of deep relaxation, really peaceful inside. You'll often see Americans talk about, I need a little R&R, rest and relaxation. They're actually kind of repeating the same thing because relaxation is rest. So, yeah, I need a little R&R. So if you hear that, you know they're talking about just rest and relaxation because probably their job is too tense, too much stress. Maybe there's stress in their family. We don't know. But I'm surprised to read here that there are no studies on the effects sleeping with pets can have on your mental health because we have studies about a lot of stupid things out there. I think this study would be something I'd be interested in hearing about. Right now, guys, before we move on, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher talk about some of these phrases and words, and then we'll be back to continue on.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是5月份5月17号 Unit 10 Should you share your bed with a pet? 这是一份篇章结构练习题，文章介绍的内容和宠物相关。不晓得各位听众家里面有没有养猫啊狗的？你会和猫狗一起睡在床上吗？和毛小孩一起睡有什么好处，又有什么坏处呢？答案都在文章里。好，我们先一起解题吧。不过正式解题之前，老师想再次跟大家强调，答题之前请务必先看4个选项，心中有个初步的印象，了解哪些句子可以让文章变得更完整，甚至约略的把这4个选项排个顺序。有些选项句子本身可以提供线索，让我们知道大概会是出现在文章的前、中、后哪个部分。此外，篇章结构最重要的就是回填的句子要和前文、后文连贯。 在文意概念上要承先启后，请大家一定要记得前后连贯、文意通顺这8字真言。好的，我们现在就来解第一题。请先看到第一题前一句，前文提到有些兽医认为和宠物一起睡觉可以强化动物和人类的情感连结，而后面一句说，一方面和宠物一起睡觉可以带来更多慰藉，更有安全感。中间应该是哪个选项呢？老师再度提醒大家，文意前后连贯、承先启后非常重要。选项 B 里面的 greater trust 呼应前一句的 stronger bonds， 指出增加信任感固然是件好事，而后半句提到，但对人类来说，这是好坏参半的消息。衔接空格下一句，以 on the one hand 开头说明和宠物一起睡的优点，文意连贯通顺，所以第一题答案选 B， 表示虽然这种更强的信任感是好事，尤其对宠物来说如此，但对人类来说，研究结果却是好坏参半。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's continue with our lesson. Again, we're trying to answer the question, should you share your bed with a pet? So, should you sleep with your pet at night? Is it good for you? Is it good for the pet? Is it bad for you? Is it bad for the pet? Etc., etc. Now, when you argue about something, or when you present something that is controversial or nobody knows the answer to, you can use this pattern. On the one hand, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, blah, blah, blah. So you can choose yourself on the one hand, and then you can talk about the positive things. And then when you say on the other hand, you can talk about the negative things. For example, I could say, on the one hand, we're all still alive. Of course, on the other hand, we're all probably going to die. So you're talking about the positive things and the negative things here. So we did talk about the positive things here. On the one hand, you can have a greater sense of comfort. You can feel protected by having a dog in your bed if you feel anxiety. And, of course, physically touching a pet when sleeping may diminish stress and increase relaxation. But here we've got, on the other hand, let's talk about some of the negative effects of sleeping with a pet.
On the other hand, having pets in the bed can decrease a person's sleep quality. Oh, I could see that happening. Here's an example. Dogs may shift throughout the night. Yeah, if they move around, that would wake up the human, right? So it would be hard to stay in deep sleep or even in REM sleep that would wake you up because something is moving. Some people are very deep sleepers, which I'm jealous about because I'm a light sleeper. Anything wakes me up. But yeah, if your animal or pet was moving around, it would wake you up. A lot of people. Now, it says here that we need that deep sleep to restore ourselves, to restore, our bodies. It makes us healthier if we have a lot of deep sleep because it gives our body a chance to rest. If you restore, it just means you're making something return to its former state or condition. My mom used to restore furniture. She'd buy old pieces of furniture and sand them down and paint them and decorate them and stain them. She did all this stuff. So we often will restore old motorcycles or cars or furniture. But if you want to restore your health, it just means sometimes we work really hard during the day. It's that sleep time that helps our bodies recover and restore themselves to a good position or condition, you could say. So, yeah, having that dog or cat there who moves around might, bring you out of that deep sleep so you wouldn't be able to feel as refreshed and restored the next morning.
That's having to do with dogs, but cat owners may be woken up on purpose for attention or play. Cats, of course, can sometimes be quite naughty. They might wake you up in the middle of the night because they want some attention, or they want to play, or they might wake you up really early in the morning because they want to eat. My cat used to hit the Venetian blinds in the morning. They're quite loud and obnoxious there, and the cat would do that to wake me up. Get up, I'm hungry, I want my breakfast. And of course, there's also the problem of allergies. That's 过敏, allergies. You might be allergic to something. Both cats and dogs can bring allergens into the bed. An allergen is something that causes an allergy, such as pollen or insects or things like that.
Dust, mold, mildew. Allergens are the actual substance or thing that causes an allergy. If you just have a lot of things you're allergic to, you'll often hear people say, oh, I have bad allergies, or my allergies are bad today. Oh, I can't breathe. I can't, my eyes keep watering. I keep sneezing. Yeah, allergies suck. They're terrible. Allergens, we often will see this word used in more formal ads or advertisements talking about some sort of medicine that's supposed to help your allergies. But here, just so you know, it's the actual substance. It could be grass. Grass is a bad allergen for a lot of people. I'm allergic to a lot of things. Some people are allergic to food, too. So there are different ways to be allergic to something. If you find yourself sneezing more after a pet sleeps next to you, this might be why. You might be allergic to your pet's hair or fur. I'm definitely allergic to pets' fur. I have a sister with an adorable dog. He's really cute. We call him Winnie. Winchester is his full name. Win is his nickname, or Winnie. And Winnie snores. So Winnie loves to sleep with us. But if Winnie is snoring, it's very hard to get any sleep because it's quite loud. I didn't know that dogs could snore until I met Winnie.
And some dogs can fart. Of course, my dog as a kid, Fred, used to fart all the time.
Really?
But, of course, we did not sleep with Fred because of that. But Fred wouldn't sleep with us anyway.
Poor
we didn't
Fred.
want to. Fred was really stinky because of his farting. But again, you might have these allergies as a result of sleeping with pets because they bring those allergens into the bed. You might be sneezing if a pet sleeps next to you. And that's the reason why. Now, people who sleep with pets should adjust their life. They should adjust their way of life to do so. So if you do choose to sleep with your pet, you need to make some changes in your life. So to adjust something means to change it in a certain way so that it fits something else. You might adjust the antenna on your TV if your reception is bad. I don't think people understand that in the old days, people had antennas on their TVs to receive signals from a TV station. If you've got an FM radio, you might adjust the antenna or something like that. And in this particular case, you need to make some changes in your life to be able to sleep with your pets.
Yeah, so you're gradually becoming more familiar with that particular situation. You could also use adapt. I need to adapt to the food in foreign countries, or I need to adjust to the amount of garlic used in Taiwanese cooking. I love garlic, by the way. Now, in everyday English, people will often say, I need to get used to something. If you get used to it, you adjust to it, you're more comfortable with that situation. So owning a mattress that's big enough to accommodate everyone is crucial or very important. To accommodate people or something or somebody, you can accommodate a thing. It just means it has enough space for them. So if you have a mattress that's big enough to accommodate 4 people, your mattress is really big. You probably have a king-size bed. So accommodate here refers to actually having enough space for something. We're having a party this weekend, Tom. My apartment can only accommodate 15 people at the same time. So I'm not inviting you. I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So,
well, I wouldn't go to your party anyway.
I know.
But in any case here, yes, you need a big mattress that can fit everyone. It can accommodate everyone. And on top of that, bedding should be washed regularly to minimize germs. So bedding would be your sheets and your quilt and stuff like that. You've got to wash it often. And you want to minimize the germs to keep the germs as limited as possible. You don't want those germs, bacteria, and stuff like that. And finally, keeping a consistent schedule is important. If you're consistent, you do things the same over and over. So yeah, always sleep from, say, 11 at night until 7 in the morning or something like that. Be consistent. Don't make changes. And yeah, just like us, pets don't like it when their bedtime routines are disrupted. They get rather cranky.
They do. They have routines just like people do. Someone who is always here routinely is our Chinese teacher. We'll listen now.
接着请看第二题，延续上一段，最后提到和宠物睡觉对心理健康会有什么影响？虽然没有相关研究，但睡觉时和宠物有肢体接触，可能可以减轻压力、放松心情。而后一句提到，狗狗可能会整夜动来动去，因此呢，和它一起睡觉的饲主很容易会脱离深层睡眠，难以恢复元气。这前后两句文意差别很大，前一句说的是好处，后一句则是坏处。因为插入选项必须保持文句前后连贯，文意通顺，我们可以推论空格的句子必须是个转折。而选项 D 出现关键的转成语 on the other hand， 而另一方面指出让宠物在饲主床上睡会让人的睡眠品质变差，所以第二题答案选 D。 再来请看第三题， There's also the problem of allergies。 和宠物一起睡在床上还有另外一个问题，饲主会过敏。前一句提到猫狗都可能把过敏源带上床，而选项 C 出现关键字 sneezing 打喷嚏，呼应前两句的主题过敏。整句话的意思是，如果你发现自己和宠物睡觉以后更常打喷嚏，或许这就是原因。文意连贯通顺，所以第三题答案选 C。 最后第四题，前文说和宠物一起睡觉的人应该要调整自己的生活方式，床垫要够大，足以容纳自己和毛小孩。除此之外，也要定期清洗床具，尽量减少细菌附着。而空格下一句说，就像我们人类一样，宠物也不爱睡眠作息受到打断。选项 A 以 finally 开头，表示前一个论点结束，开启了最后一点，指出作息规律非常重要，文意连贯通顺，所以第四题选 A。 好的，这以上就是我们针对这一篇和宠物一起睡觉到底有什么好处，有什么坏处，篇章结构练习题所做的中文解题讲解。不晓得在看完整篇文章之后，大家还会不会继续和自己心爱的宠物一起睡在床上呢？不管如何，老师祝福大家在解篇章结构的时候解题顺利。谢谢。
Okay, everybody, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. So remember, sharing a bed with the pet isn't for everyone, but it has the potential for great rewards. You'll have to decide on your own if it's worth the risk. So yeah, I don't have any pets now, so I don't need to worry about this. But hey, some pet owners out there may have to grapple with this problem, and hopefully you'll make the right decision. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.